Welcome to Inside the Box, the channel that takes you out of the real world and puts you into the world of imagination. Every week we deep dive into anything media. That means TV shows, movies, anime, and comic books. Whether you love the new movie The Accountant or you're a fan of the new anime 2B Hero X, we got you covered. This is the place to break free from the outside world and look at the world inside the box. Let's get started. I'm your host, Mac.
I'm your host, Cody.
Oh, yeah.
He reminded me of the hormone monster from Big Mouth. We got Sheila and Jessica and my favorite Darlene. Yeah, that's good. All right, for our first episode that we're discussing, Lazarus episode 3. This is living up to my hopes. Honestly, it's the Adult Swim. I was scared about the first 3 episodes being bangers and then falling off. We got another episode coming out tonight that we'll end up watching episode 4. So that will be the end all be all of my judgment of it, whether this did better than Ninja Kamui. What do you think about the episode overall, Mac?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. Like, we got to see into more of, like, their past and stuff like that. Got to meet other people. Got to, like, build the world a little bit. And then I also like the feeling that we're moving closer. Like, we're actually making moves of, like, finding things out and being able to get it and pull it together and put the pieces where they need to be and then actually finish like what we're setting out to do. Like, I love that, like, I guess not we, but the team of Lazarus figured out, yo, this dude got a grandma. Why don't we just go hoppity doppity up over there and see what she know?
Yeah.
Like,
I like that each member of the team also has an integral part of it, because we get Axel and Doug being like the smart dude, and he's like, oh, I was in college and there's this professor that worked with Skinner and we can find him. Last thing I heard, he was homeless. And then Axel's like, oh, I know a homeless camp.
Yeah.
And he happens to be in that homeless camp, and at the same time Elena, the hacker, she's like, oh, we were right how you were saying, like, they keep putting Skinner's face over those people in the surveillance. She's like, only 3 people would be able to do this, and that's like, and she was saying, like, one of them is Dr. 909, and she's like, and one of them is me. And I was like, I wonder if she mentioned that because it is her and she is working with the doc, and I don't know. We had Christine and Leyland. She's the girl that's like an agent, and then Leyland's the like super smart guy or a little young kid. And they go to Skinner's house to clean. And if you notice, Christine finds a pill in his couch.
Yeah.
That has the number 5 on it, and she puts it in her pocket. I'm like,
Like, she didn't just start away. I was like, I feel like she's gonna test that or something. Like, oh, bro. Yeah. She's even like, is this the cure? He's like, I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
she's like, is this the cure? I'm like, I don't know. Like, yeah, and then they send Axel and Leyland to the like little dark zone that they found with no surveillance to find his grandma. Which I'm like, Dr. Skinner, I thought was old. How is his grandma alive? But I guess he just has white hair and he has a beard, so I guess he's not that old. But they go see him and they're getting chased, and Leyland's like about to die. He's like, we're just here to find his grandma, Belinda, and eat her baklava. And they're like, you say Belinda? And the baklava? Oh, hold up. And Belinda, I guess, is like, yeah, she just is ready for anybody to show up at her house. She goes, here you go, boys. Here's your box of baklava. They're like, yeah, baklava. And she's like, come on, please come in. So I like this episode a lot. This was pretty good.
I love, like, before that run when they're like running away from everybody, you see Axel just like warming up and stretching, like, oh, yep, we're gonna have to run.
He's like,
I already know
what's about to happen. Like, yeah, I know what's going on.
Oh, and he just doesn't say anything to leave it. Like, he just gets done stretching. He's like, yep, now we run. And I'm like, brah.
Yeah. And that's why I like those parts, because it shows Axel's, like, it has action even when a like not highly actionable like episode is. Even whenever they're in the camp and the guy's like trying to hustle him, he's like, hey, I'll pay you $20, and Axel is just like bouncing all around. He's like, man, this is bullshit. I'm like, see? And then he
At least he
fights the
didn't take
other
his money though
guys.
either. I was like,
Yeah, he did take
Axel is a
money. He's like,
good guy. He is a
good guy. Good guy. I would have
He's
took
like,
that
watch
shit
out who
either
you
way.
hustle next, though. I was like, he's like, I had to teach you a lesson, son.
Yeah.
Like,
If you
dang.
notice, he when Axel at the very end of the episode, he looks into the camera. He's like, "I'm coming for you next. I'm gonna take you down." Did you notice the
Like, why are you
guy? He
talking to
like,
me like that, bro? I'm sorry.
well, he also doesn't have a beard, so I'm like, I wonder if it's Skinner, or I wonder if like Skinner shaved and he's no longer bearded Skinner, or if it's a guy working with Skinner. And
The thing
then Elena,
that made me think Elena was working with him too, because I'm like, you're supposed to be this good, and you couldn't get inside the one camera that's supposed to be in that dead zone. That should have been like
yeah,
the magnet to your needle, girl. Like, huh?
oh yeah,
You didn't sense that.
and well, she did say that she found Doctor 909's location based off of when they found the camera.
Nah,
So I'm
bro,
like,
she working with him, bro. She working.
I think she is. I feel like that's gonna
She
be the plot
working.
twist. So we'll see for that
Fit.
one. Overall, I'm looking forward to the next one. And yeah, I think good episode overall.
Nice, nice.
What about To Be Hero X episode 3? What'd you think?
I loved it. I think it was awesome.
I'm really
From the
liking this
beginning
series.
to the middle to the end. I love this episode too because it shows how much our how much the I guess
Our
people's trust
trust
in
and
them
hope.
really affects them because the dude couldn't even bend down.
Yeah.
Like he couldn't bend. I was just like, that is crazy. I cannot live like that. When he was like, yeah, I had to strap myself to the bed. Basically, he couldn't bend down for the little girl to put the metal over him. I was just like.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, all right, the gun, just teleport you to him. Like, that's cool. Nah, the dude couldn't lay down, man. He couldn't take a deuce, bro.
I know.
I was
I
like,
like this
bruh.
series in the sense like it's one of those like Reddit posts. You're like, name a really cool power you wish you had, and then the first person that comments gets to name the weakness to it. And this would be one of those like you are indestructible, you will never like fall. And so I was like, but you can't take a shit. And then we're like, oh, that just ruined the whole power for me. Or for Nice, his power as he becomes more and more like Nice, he gets extreme
Oh,
OCD,
see,
and I
yeah.
like that. Where in the scenes they show like he puts on his mug and he turns the mug, and then he wipes away something. I'm like it shows how OCD he is, and I'm enjoying those like little subtleties. Also, the fact that Furman's villain, Wolf Girl, was the little girl that he saved from the
So
beginning,
good. Oh,
and
my
she becomes a
gosh.
villain because of all the things. So I like that everybody's decisions or everybody's like actions has consequences in this,
Yes.
whether they
Oh,
think it's good
yes.
or not. Because she became a villain because everybody was like being mean to her, and also because no one understood Furman, and she's like, "I'll become the villain to free him." So
And she
yeah,
did
and
free him.
she did. Yeah, I was gonna say. And then at the end, we had stupid God's Eye come back, and he showed that
249.
Moon 249 came back, and he showed Moon is still alive, and was saying that Nice's entire fame is scripted. I'm imagining in episode 4 it's going to like show Nice's power has to go down some because of this. His trust value has to like plummet a little bit just off the fact that Moon's still alive and they had a funeral for her.
I don't think it is. I think they're gonna be able to spin it like he put makeup on this girl in a wig or something like that. I feel like
Or they're
homegirl,
faking it. It's not
the yeah,
real.
like the company girl. I feel like she's gonna be able to spin it so well on social media
Miss
to where
J
I don't
is
think he's
smart
gonna
when it comes to
lose
those kind of
anything. Yeah,
things.
I don't think
But
he's gonna
we'll
lose
we'll
anything because
see.
she's gonna be able to spin it.
I think he'll overcome it, but I think there's gonna be like a little dip in his power where
Yeah,
he'll go.
I
So
feel like
we'll see for that one.
I like this made me think of the other superheroes that are in front of him, like what their negative aspects that they
Yeah,
have
their
to deal with.
drawback is
Yeah, because I'm like, bro, for you to be that strong and have that much trust that
mm,
the people are giving you, what's the negative that they're also giving you? Like Stan Furman literally couldn't bend down, and he wasn't
yeah,
even like top five. So
yeah.
it's
He
like,
was number 10.
what are these people's drawbacks for them to be
Yeah,
that powerful? And I'm just like, I just can't wait to figure that part out. So I hope it's very interesting. Like, hey, I
Mm,
can't go to sleep, bro. I'm on alert 24/7. Anybody says my name, I'm there or something like that. I'm like, bro, like,
yeah.
is it gonna be something like that? Like, it's gonna be interesting to see.
Yeah, I'm curious about when we get to the final, where because this is all supposed to be leading up to a tournament, and the person that is the top becomes X, where they're like the number one hero becomes X. I was like, oh, so it seems like X is truly just a mantle that any of these superheroes can become. I'm curious to see if what his drawback is and how often that title switches, or if he's so powerful
Mm,
he's been X for however X many years. So
mm.
we'll see for that one. Moving on to our next one, Fire Force season 3, episode 4. Would you? What was your overall? For me, out of the 4 episodes, this is probably the weakest. It was still good, but it was kind of just like it stuck with the fight. We got the full progression of the gold fight. I really did not think the Tamaki melting iron bit was super necessary with the put all the stuff in her butt. But that's my opinion. Overall, the sniper shot that the lieutenant had was cold. Where he's like,
Arthur's entrance,
cold?
like
Yeah,
the
overall.
o- that is
Um,
like the only thing I liked about this episode was okay. Now we're done with them. It's like I
yeah.
don't hate Company 8, but I'm like, you guys aren't the people we're quote unquote here to watch. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, oh
Yeah.
okay, because I was hoping like Company 7 was coming, Company 4 was coming to like help
Mm-hmm.
them. It's like, oh,
Yeah, like, where's
somehow you
Benny
guys were able to
Maru
beat
in
them,
this?
right? And it's like somehow you guys were able to beat them. And it's like cool, but it would have been
Mm-hmm.
cooler with all these other guys, especially since Homeboy and Joker did a whole mission on the church in season 2. So it's like, why isn't he
Yeah.
here? What?
Why isn't he
So
open?
yeah, so it was cool to, in a sense, to finally get that fight kind of out of the way
Mm-hmm.
and like them win. And it's like, all right, maybe we can see one fight Homeboy. You know, maybe we'll
Yeah.
see Arthur fight more. So I do feel like we needed this episode to kind of get past this,
Yeah,
and then
no,
so we can
it was a good
see
progression
everything
episode.
else. Yeah,
We
but
did get the first glimpse at Dragon. Dragon is supposedly like he is the dude. He's supposed to be like the strong, one of the strongest White Clad members. And I don't know anything past that because I didn't finish the manga, but I know that like the name Dragon is going to interact with Arthur in a way that is like, this is my, this is my coup de grace. This is my battle that I need to battle. So I know that's one of like the best fights in the anime or in the manga. So hopefully they get a good adaptation of that. At the end, we do see the bug crawl into Obi's like shirt and his eyes turning red.
yeah,
So
yeah, he's done
I
so,
don't
bro.
know. Yeah,
He's done so.
maybe he just gets because like the fifth pillar, the kid, he woken. He didn't die.
Nah, he done so, bro. He done
I
so.
don't know if he
He done so.
died.
I don't either. I just feel like they're gonna be like, nah, we ain't gonna make it to where he survived. We want him
You think
dead.
he's
We
done?
want everybody on their knees crying. We want them to have that like Luffy moment when Ace died, where it's just like eyes white, tears down. They can't move. I feel like that's what they're going for. I think Captain's
I
dead.
do
He
like
gone.
when shows are not afraid to have those kind of consequences. Some shows go a little crazy on it. Jujutsu Kaisen, a little too far, a little too much. Everything I hold like close and dear, they like to kill them in Jujutsu Kaisen. Chainsaw Man, same thing. They like to kill basically anybody, and they're just like, nah, not important.
Gots to
You
go.
thought you thought you loved them? No, no. You barely knew them. We only gave you 4 or 5 episodes with them.
They do that because what's the show Angel Beats where like everybody
Oh
dies
my
and like
god,
since like
yeah.
everybody talked about it, I feel like these creators are like we're gonna do that. We're just gonna kill everybody so
Yeah.
people keep talking about it.
It's good when it happens as long as it doesn't happen excessively. I think one show gets one killed off person. I think that's favorable. And for this show, I don't want it to be Obi. It should be like Benny Maru's vice captain, the sick guy. I think that would be good.
Mm,
Where he's like one last time, and he does like the big powerful crescent moon like move, and then that kills him. I think that would be good. But Obi is like one of my favorites because he's just like, I'm normal, and because of that, I am this jacked motherfucker that is just like doing. He's like, yeah, you hit me with a truck. Why didn't that hurt? Because I'm jacked. I'm just like, what? This is basically Mashal as a captain in Fire Force.
It's
So
like, yeah,
that's why I
the
like
truck
Obi.
got dented because of me.
Yeah, this man is basically a Pacific Islander in this show. So Fire Force episode 4, not the best, but a good progressive episode into
yeah,
like story
yeah,
wise. Where I'm just like, all right, cool, all right, we got it. Green Lantern. You want to talk about Green Lantern War Journal? We had
yeah. We
that
can.
reading this week. It was honestly John Stewart, my favorite Green Lantern. I don't know about you, but
Phenomenal, phenomenal.
he is a phenomenal. And this is whenever I was talking about last episode with Sojourner Moreland. She's also former Army, and then John Stewart is also former Army. So they were saying like, all of these Green Lanterns, a lot of them are military related. Hal Jordan, he's an Air Force pilot. So that's the one thing that I was like, they do got a point there. But John Stewart, still my favorite. Used to be a sniper. He's the architect. He's the builder. He's the man that doesn't need a plan. Don't tell him what he cannot do. He is the Green Lantern. What did you think of this series? I think it was, what was it, 14 issues?
Oh, I hope not. I think I only read 12 issues.
It might have been 12. It might have been 12.
Uh,
You mean you didn't see the epilogue where they talk about? No, I think it was. I think it might have been 12. You're right.
Well, I only got 12 downloaded.
Yeah, no, it is 12. I don't know why I was saying 14.
But
Most times when they do like single volume issues, it's usually 12.
I think we got to see how powerful John is in a
Mm.
sense of like this entity that's older than old wanted him, this entity that he's known that's different wanted him. He created life from the ring itself. I think like the first Green Lantern to do that. He rewrote
Mm-hmm.
a whole planet by himself. Like that was crazy. Him using the ring's power without a ring at the beginning was crazy. Uh, it was good. It was good. The ending felt rushed. I think they could
Yeah.
have showed him being more powerful, but yet pulling it back. And so, like, what I mean by that is like how I guess I don't really remember if he created the planet, but like when he like sees the data from like the planet, he's like, no, I just needed to see what's in the center of it. And
Yeah.
then like it shows all like the data boxes and stuff, like in a sphere or whatever. I thought he was going to make like another mogul. Is it mogul the Green Lantern planet?
Oh, like the Green Lantern
Uh,
planet.
yeah, I
Yeah.
thought he was going to make something like that, and then it was going to have the old entity that he knew, and like it was going to be that planet, and he was like going to give it a second chance because he's like, this isn't like who he used to be, whatever, and it's like
Mm.
twisted you and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, he's going to like fix this whole thing
Yeah.
and like make it a planet, and then like these people are going to create a whole new life on this planet or something like that. Nope, nope, not what happened. Not what happened one bit. He's basically just like, yeah, I imprisoned them and I control them now, which is cool,
Yeah.
which is cool. But I was just like, it felt so rushed. And it's just like, yep, this is how powerful John is. He can do this and control them. That's why when he went back to Earth, he just said he just easily beat that thing in a sense. And I was just like,
Mm.
yeah, but imagine how much cooler it would have been if you created this whole new planet that already had a hardwire in there. It was a planet before, and he restored like the old will of this entity that he knew from long ago, and they had this relationship before. Because I believe in the old comics, the Dark Star that they're talking about, he becomes like the old Guardian when they're like, oh yeah, they used to like have their own like people and like warriors and stuff. I believe when Hal was going crazy and he destroyed Oa and John lost like him being a guardian and stuff like that. I believe he
Mm.
became a Dark Star and then something happened and that's when he became paralyzed. So I thought it was
Yeah.
gonna like go back into all of
Link to
that.
it.
Yeah, and it didn't. At
Yeah.
least I read over it or something. It didn't feel like Link to it at least. And I thought it was going to link to that and like him making a planet for it, and then we actually get to see that more. And it goes and like the entity goes back to that, and he instead of just imprisoning it, he heals it and fixes it. Instead, it
Mm,
just felt like, oh, John Stewart's is powerful. He has control over it. He's put it in prison. He went back to Earth. He defeated it. Cool. We're gonna move on. That's what I felt
yeah.
like the ending was like. To where at the beginning and the middle, it didn't feel like it was building up to that. It felt like it was building up to the John Stewart we knew that could create life, the John Stewart that can go past will and so, the John Stewart that can build anything that he put his mind to, the John Stewart that literally looks at you like, don't tell me what I can do. I can create a whole
Mm,
planet if I want to create a whole planet. I can heal this old entity that I know that needs healing and fixing. I could put all these different species on this planet and let them live their life here. I thought that's where we were leading to from the beginning and the middle, not just, oh, look how powerful he is. He put it in
mm,
prison, now he controls it with this other ring. I was just like,
yeah.
oh,
I think it
yes.
was. I think the main purpose of it was to kind of like bridge what happened to him before the series, where he's like he's no longer a Green Lantern, but he still has access to the Green Lantern powers without a ring. And they're like, how? We know we gave him a little bit of like he's going back home to take care of his mama, back like ending, but we kind of need him back. So how are we gonna bring him back? And this 12 issues was kind of that where they show his mom's dementia progression, and it progresses very fast in the series. And those parts, I was like, "Damn, these are some like these make you feel when you're like when they're
Mm,
talking." And then he makes his sister, and he's like, "I just can't like he can't take losing his mom at this stage." But his mom, in her senses of clarity, she's like, "The world needs you. You need to get out there." My biggest nitpick, like I said, the ending is really fast, where you're like you have this big build up, but I think my biggest nitpick was him absorbing his mom into the ring and having her consciousness kind of still there. I was like,
mm,
that felt like it kind of like dismantled all the progress that he had as a character and what his mom was trying to do for him in her sacrifice. Where she was like, "Don't worry about me. You need to go be a guardian." He's like, "But I can't lose you." And then I think this is almost like a band-aid on his psychosis where he like conjures her into the ring, and the ring now acts as if she would act. I'm like,
right.
that didn't feel like he healed. It felt like he kind of ignored the issue at hand, where he's like, I can't deal without my mom. So let me think of my ring as kind of like my mom. That's cool. I feel like might be a crutch later on in his stories. Maybe they'll tie it back in. But as John being so capable, I was like, man, it's kind of hard to see him being so vulnerable in this series. But it's good. But I also wish it had the closure at the end where he's like, I sons are supposed to lose their mothers. That is the cycle of life. I wish he got that moment, got to be like mourn his mom, and then got back to business being a Green Lantern. But instead, he loses his mom, and then he kind of like keeps her alive in a weird way. Like it's not his
Yeah,
mom, but it's his mom.
right.
So it's like, and then he still has his sister going with him as well, doing like other things. I'm like, that just felt like a psychosis wise. It didn't
Yeah,
feel healthy in the long run.
because
But the feats wise that he does, I was like, these are good feats for him.
yeah,
So
'cause I definitely thought like by the end, like the construct of his sister was
it
gonna be
would go
gone. Like,
away.
yeah, I was like,
Yeah,
why is she still here? In a sense
yeah,
where I'm like, yo, he needs to go talk to Black Canary because she's a therapist. Like, you need a therapist.
yeah. No, he
You
needs
you
some
like I
some
understand
help.
like grieving and all that, and it's like, yo, you do got to go talk to somebody. If you're grieving that
Mm-hmm.
hard, in a sense, you're using the Green Lantern to create like because like the Green Lantern ring is like an AI in a sense. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
the show that Prime came out with a couple years ago.
Death,
But I
Love, and
for
Robots.
no, but it's like they put the subconsciousness into like a computer or whatever, and they like live online or whatever. But it's like I feel
Mm-hmm.
like that's what he's doing is like, hey, these are all the things I know about them, and he
Mm-hmm.
puts it in the ring, and like the AI of the ring is like creating a generic
Yeah, no,
profile of these
exactly.
things, and he's not really moving on with his life. And I'm like,
No.
you got like I know you're grieving, you got to go talk to somebody about this. And I thought
Yeah.
again, that's where I thought we were going with the whole thing of like him healing and him like
Mm,
seeing this old entity that he knew and helping that heal and change, and like that would heal and change him, and he'd be like this whole, but no, like that, I was just like the
yeah.
beginning and middle did not match up the end at all.
But I
So
think Steel is like kind of like the voice of reason during this, where while John's in that off world trying like to fight these dark, what do they call the Dark Eternals or the
okay,
bad guys.
yeah,
But while he's like fighting them, Steel is talking to his sister, and he's like, "Hey, your mom's like progression is going getting worse and worse. She needs to like see a doctor. We need to get her
mm,
back home." And then I think his sister's name was like Ellie in this one, and she's like, "I'm as much as John Stewart as I am me, and we're staying here and we're doing this." And Steele was able to be like, "Hey, this isn't healthy. Like this isn't good." And then both, and like Ellie says, she's like, she is like John Stewart, so she's in as much denial as John Stewart is. I'm like, oh, I hope they bring this back up, because if John Stewart just goes back to business as a Green Lantern, that is not good for him as a character. As
yeah,
like, I mean, it's very real, it's very realistic, but like for me, caring for him as a character, I'm like, ooh, he needs to like deal with this at some point. But overall, I do. With all that being said, I love Green Lanterns because it shows you the the limits, not even the limits, like the possibilities as a Green Lantern. Like we never thought about like you could create a secondary subconscious to help you with things like how he was showing his new mom conscious is able to do all the math in the background for him. I'm like, see, that's smart. Like you can create separate consciences divided to take on different tasks for you as a Green Lantern.
mm,
Do they need to be portrayed by his sister and mother? No, they do not.
no,
But as
yeah,
like, I'm like, oh, they're basically Jarvis. They're almost like Jarvis for him. I'm like, that's smart. You can create Jarvises as a helper for you, but I just don't think he should be his family members. I
yeah,
don't think.
yeah.
I don't. I don't think.
That's not
I
that's
don't
not
know
how
what I
things
would
work.
do in that sense if I
Right?
had the
Yeah, most
power.
definite.
But man, you smoke and stack together to the end. Like I don't know. We'll see. Oh, I did. Do you have anything else about Green Lanterns?
Nah, nah.
Okay. Before we get to our review of The Accountant 2, I did leave The Last of Us episode 2 to the end for a reason, in a sense of what did you think of episode 2?
Oh, it was good, bro. It was. I was like, oh, this is why Cody been wanting me to watch this, but I was like, hey, duh, 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 no, dang, dang, oh, run, run, oh, no, no, that like, oh yeah, it was like,
That was
blow,
a
blow, blow, blow.
movie. Yeah, that was a
Yeah,
movie packed into one episode. That was almost like a finale of a series packed into an
yeah,
episode. And I don't think I felt anything like that until this is as if like season 6 and season 7 of Walking Dead finale and beginning episodes started and like had one episodes to do it, where they just ran straight in through season 6, no break, season 7, because you have all this shit where it's like, oh my god, everything's happening, shit has hit the fan. The city was called what, Johnson? No, Jackson City, Jackson Hole. Yeah, it is now being attacked by this horde of zombies because of this chick Abby. Is I mean, she didn't mean for it to happen, but that crazy mistake led to this entire thing.
yeah,
And basically, in like a little small quick synopsis, Abby and her group, they wake up on the cabin. They're in a cabin. They see that the city is a lot more protected than they thought. She goes out for a watch. She sees Joel and Dina come out, which Joel, Dina, and then what's his name? Ellie and Jesse are on patrol, and they see Joel and Dina. She decides to try and get a closer look. She falls down this hill. It awakens a horde of thousands of zombies, of clickers, and a bloater. And because of the stuff that was going through the pipes on the first episode, it then catches the attention of the zombies and they run towards him. And so now Jackson Hole has to defend that. Joel and Nina see all that happening. At the same time, there's a big storm coming through. They
Yeah,
save
that.
Abby as Abby is running. And he's like, come on. And she hears Dina call for Joel. And she's like, Joel, I need to kill him. But I also need to be safe. You guys should come back to my cabin. We have supplies. And then lures him back to the cabin. They're all like, all right, let's go. Shoots my man Joel, and then this is how I knew. I was like, this is where he dies. I was like, oh, this is where he dies. They shot him in the knee and blew basically his leg out. I was like, that's not healing ever. That's all the meat's hanging off of that. I was like, no, this is Glenn all over again. Please, no, please. And then she starts beating the living shit out of him with a 4-iron, punching him, and Ellie shows up. She's trying to like do all the things. She gets taken down, like we said in episode 1. What would really happen? You don't want it to happen, but this is how it happens. And she has to watch Joel be stabbed in the neck. And that was the other thing. I was like, ah!
When that happened, I was like, this is why you never treat the ones you love so badly, because you never know when it's gonna be the last time you see them.
Yeah.
Because I was like,
Because
I know she regretted everything she did
yeah.
that night before. I was like,
And she was
does.
trying to make it up to him that morning too, but it was too late. I was like, oh no. But that is basically that's the precipice of the game too, where you're like you and taking yourself out of perspective of like you have to think of Abby as if she were in your shoes. Someone comes in, you guys are trying to save the world. She doesn't know that they have to kill Ellie for it. She just knows that her dad's a doctor and he's going to save the world. Comes back, she sees her dad's brains on the floor, and she wants revenge. 5 years later, we also find out in between time, that's why I was asking you last episode why you think it took so long. It takes so long because they go join Wolf, and Wolf is like a military group, and that's where they get all their training from, and then they go find them. So she comes back, she's trained, she finds Joel, she jumps on her chance, she gets her revenge, but in the process, she creates another Abby in Ellie. So now, like the game, we're in a crossroads of Team Abby and Team Ellie. We gotta see who we end up on at the end of the series. I'm Team Ellie.
I mean, my thing is they're essentially the same person. At this point now, they're essentially the same person. Like Ellie's gonna get revenge because somebody killed her dad. Just like Abby got revenge because somebody killed her dad. They're the same person now. There's no like right or wrong. It's like, nah, you killed my dad, I killed you. Well, you killed my dad, now I gotta kill you. So you get where I'm coming from. So it is like you've created your own monster in a sense. And it was not good to see, but it was very understanding, and the way they did it was amazingly awesome.
Yeah,
I was like,
so good.
Yeah,
so
that was great.
I didn't think they were going to do it so quickly. I didn't think it was going to happen like so fast.
I think it happened so fast because Pedro Pascal was like, I gotta go make Fantastic Four, guys.
Yeah,
I gotta go.
Like, so guys, we gotta wrap this one up.
I definitely think that's why they did it so fast. He's like,
I think what's also good about Abby as a character and as well as the actress Caitlin Dever, who she was casted as Ellie originally for when they were going to make a movie, and then they switched from a movie to a TV show. And the new showrunner that picked it up, they're like, she's kind of getting too old because in the show or in the first game, Ellie's supposed to be 14, and Abby or Caitlin Dever is a little too old at the time to play a 14-year-old. So then they casted her as Abby. I was like, I wish Abby was a muscle mommy, but it's okay. I'll take it because you can see almost how much she's like Ellie because you casted the person that was supposed to play Ellie. I'm like, it's good in that sense. Her whole group also has some really good actors. If you didn't notice, did you notice that the guy, the Hispanic dude, is Falcon from Captain America?
I did not.
Yeah,
I did not know
he's
that.
Falcon.
Damn. Only okay,
Yeah.
man. We here working. All
And
right, I
then
see you,
we
dude.
got Tati Gabriel, who I love. She's in she was the kind of bad guy in Uncharted movie. You remember? She
Oh
was the
yeah,
baddie.
yeah,
Yeah. She
yeah.
also plays in Kaleidoscope, and she's also in the 100, and she's also in You. And so I was like, that's good. There was Mel looked very familiar. I think it's kind of looks because she looks like what's the Disney chick that's always dancing? You know who I'm talking about? Max. She plays Max in like all of the Step Up movies. I forgot her name, but she kind of looks like her. But Mel's from Runaways, if you remember that show,
The
the movie
show?
Runaways. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, she's in that one. And then I'm trying to remember what the guy that plays Falcon's name is, but he's Falcon there. I'm like, these are good castings.
Yeah. Honestly, I was not even paying attention to them. I was like, damn. And I was like, all right, get back to Jackson Hole. Because I was like, bruh.
Yeah.
In my head, I was like, are they going to kill both the brothers? I was like,
Oh, brother, I was
my
so nervous for
gosh.
Tommy. I was like,
I
Tommy,
was like, I was like
no.
and then, like,
I
he just
thought,
went up to that one thing with, like, just a little flamethrowers running out. When those two ran away at the beginning for
yeah,
the even, I was like, you punks. Y'all
yeah.
couldn't at least leave the fire fucking flames. I was like, y'all
You
punks
could
just
have
ran
thrown the
away.
tanks so people could
Right? I
shoot
was
them.
like, y'all
Yeah,
punks, bro.
I
But
thought
Tommy
Maria,
was
his
a dude, bro.
I thought Maria was going to die. So I thought Tommy was going to be fighting the bloater, and then Maria was going to come up behind the bloater and attack it and draw it away and get killed.
Mm,
And then Tommy's going to be like, no! And then he lost his brother and his wife at that time. But luckily,
yeah.
they both survived because who lets the dogs out? Maria lets the
Maria.
dogs out. Yeah. So we'll see in this episode coming up how everybody deals with that. I just know this is gonna be a painful last episode coming up because Ellie's gonna be dealing with it, and then Tommy's gonna be dealing with it, and
Mm,
then Joel, and then like
that's some cleanup.
Joel.
Do I don't know in the game or not. Do the dogs get infected? Can the dogs be like infected from those
I
things?
don't. Yeah, I don't remember honestly. That was one thing I was like, ooh, they might have to kill all
Yeah,
them dogs
because I was
because
like,
they just ingested some of that
right. I'm
that
like, if they turn
clicker.
into
But
Resident Evil dogs now, they gotta go.
yeah, a lot of people were saying it's best not to think about the logic behind it because if you remember, whenever it was like growing through the pipes, everyone was like, how are you guys not worried about if it's growing through the pipes, it's growing in your soil and then it's affecting the food that you eat? And they're like, no, that's not how it works. They're like, no, this disease that started this came from flour. You don't think that's
Yeah,
how that works? That's how it started. I'm like, they make good points. They make good
it's
points.
a TV show.
It's a TV
You just
show.
got
Don't think about it
yeah.
too
We gotta go
much.
with the TV logic, I guess.
Yeah, some people were upset because of they're like, oh, well, if I was in charge of Jackson Hole, I would have dug a moat or done this or done that. They had a really good setup. They just didn't think. The only reason they fell was because thousands of clickers and like a bloater came and were able to intelligibly. They're getting smarter as we see as the show progresses. Before that, you couldn't imagine this many clickers attack at once in a horde in
Yeah,
a like smart, intelligible attack. And also, they had like pretty good like setup for if that did happen. If a group of 500 attacked, they would have been fine. And then it was only because the bloater busted through the wall that they started getting overrun. So I was like, Jackson Hole, they did what they had to do, and they not everybody survived, but
mm,
a lot of people survived. They were just talking about the overpopulation, so now they don't got to worry about that.
that's very true. Very true.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say, like after I think it's called the Great Wall with like Matt Damon or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, and like they're like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
protecting. That's like the one thing I was like when I seen the inside the wall and they have like the little blades and like they have the people inside of it like doing like the roll whatever. I'm like
Mm-hmm.
whenever I make a wall of something, I got to put that in there because I was like that's so deep. I never thought of putting like a midsection levels of like just blades of somebody just rowing back and forth and just
Yeah,
cutting whatever's climbing the wall. And I'm like, yeah, dude, that's so smart.
yeah.
How do you not think of that
Smart.
when you're creating this giant wall to have like a midsection of defense to where
Yeah,
it's so tiny they can't get in, but hey, I'm chopping you in half. I was
Or
like,
for
you gotta
even
have that.
the only thing I was thinking of is how even just like the normal things, if you have a wall, people usually put like those spikes, especially for like in The Walking Dead, they often did that where they would put spikes where it's like this and then like this. So whenever the zombies run full force, they just get impaled. I'm like, see, that's that's smart. I would also probably dug a ditch. But once again, like I said, they didn't think this was going to
Yeah,
be a thing that they would have to deal with so quickly. They were more worried about, and most of their manpower was going to expanding and remodeling these houses for people to be able to live in. Not, oh, I wonder if a horde's going to show up in the dead
right.
of winter. Yeah,
I
so
bet
that's the
next
only
time
thing
they'll
I'm
be
like,
more prepared though. They'll be more prepared next
shit, they ain't got no Joel no more.
time.
So, uh, but I think the main thing I took away from this, with me being so sad that Joel got killed, was I remember when the first season started, how upset people were that Pedro Pascal got casted as Joel. They're like, "Oh, it should have been this guy. It should have been this guy. He doesn't even look like Joel." I'm like, he might not. He might not be as like gruff as Joel was from the game, but fucking hell,
He killed it.
I'm gonna have to bleep that one. He killed it as Joel. His acting chops to be able to act like Joel the way he did was amazing. Honestly, I couldn't have asked for a better person to play Joel. So I'm looking forward to the series. I started my dad on it. My dad's enjoying it as well. He was mad
Yeah,
because season 2 isn't finished and he's starting something that's not finished. I'm like, oh, you got season 1, then you can stop because there's a big time jump and you can just watch till season 1's done. You'll be fine. So he's starting it. He thinks it's good. So
that's
yeah.
right. That's right.
All right. Back to our main event, The Accountant 2. I figure we do a 3, 2, 1 countdown of what we think. So 3, 2, 1, 88.
93.
All right. I'm a little more critical in a sense. I thought it was really good. Honestly, I would probably watch it again, give it like another 10 years, the same way I had to rewatch The Accountant 1. And I was like, this was good. I forgot most things that happened. I had to give my brain like a 10-year wipe before I rewatch something. If not, I'm like, oh yeah, this and then this and then this. But in a sense, I think it was a really good sequel. It just wasn't like the first movie, if that makes sense. Like it
Oh yeah,
wasn't the
most
same
definite.
genre of the first
Yeah,
movie, even. But
I
I did
am.
love it for a
I
lot of
am
reasons.
very lenient on sequels. If the first one's good, in the
Mm.
sense of like, people are gonna love the first one. The
Oh
second
yeah,
one's probably not gonna catch the same magic. So I'm a little bit more lenient on sequels than I would be on
mm.
like the original ones. But I
I
like
think
this one because John Barthol kills it with
I
this.
love John Bernthal this one.
I was
Yeah,
like,
he
dude,
is hilarious. This and also I like it. I say 88. 88 is also my score for The Accountant 1, in the sense of like it's really good. It's not like something I try to save my 90s for like movies that I'm like, damn, I'm about to watch this shit again. Like Sinners, 90s. But Accountant 2, I'm like, yeah, I'd see it again. I'd go see it again. But it was a good movie for what it is. But John Bernthal kills it in a sense of like he shows what it's like to be a brother of someone that has highly functional autism and like how you would think he was. Like he's still very childish, but that's because he never got a chance to grow up because all the focus was on trying to make sure Christian is going to survive in this world. I'm like,
mm,
that's good. He did good. What were your favorite parts of the movie?
mm, definitely the cowboy scene. That
Yep.
that one was good.
Yep.
The scene with the prostitutes when he's like, "Do you want us to hurt him?" And she's like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
And I was just
Yeah.
like, I love it because I'm like, they're both on the same page. It's not a
Mm.
I'm a good guy, you're the bad. No, they're both like their moral compass is essentially always pointing in the same direction, and I love
Yeah. I
that scene
loved how in
where they're just
sync they
like,
were.
all right, we'll hurt him like for you, like
Yeah.
okay, no,
Yeah. All the
we're like
scenes
we're
where
not
they
gonna
were
worry
just
about it.
like they don't even have to say nothing to each other. Like
Yeah,
especially the final big fight scene or the action scene where they're like hitting corners. They were like reloading with each other. The grenade goes up, he drags them immediately, and then they just go back to it. Everything was so in sync without a single word being said. I was like, this was good. He like leaves and drives off, and then John Brother was like, boom, hits him with the car. He's like, get in, and then I'm like, everything's in sync. I love. I almost damn called him Matt Damon. I love Ben Affleck. How like he's like Braxton, that's not funny. Braxton,
yeah.
Braxton.
Every time when
Braxton, stop doing that.
Even when I was like, bro,
Braxton,
these
I
guys
don't like to be
kill it.
repeated.
Yeah.
And but also they have the moment where he's like, do you not, because you don't miss me? Is it me?
Right.
Is
Yeah.
it you? And they're noticing that they're very similar. And John Brothers was like, no, we're not. Like, I love my life. And we're like,
even that's what like even at the beginning when he's like smiling or whatever, he's like and he's like trying to fit in, and then you have that same scene with John Bartha when he's like, hey Margaret, hi Margaret, and he's like trying to say hello. Well, I'm like, damn, this is the same. This is essentially the same scene that they just. I'm like, these are just two brothers that are fucked up from their dad. Like I was like,
absolutely.
And I'm just like, that's to me, that's one of the reasons why it's like above 9. One of the reasons why I like it wasn't higher for me is the side characters. I did not like the side characters at all. I didn't like the girl that worked.
Melinda was
didn't like her. I didn't like homegirl that was the bad person, but wasn't the bad person. The mom or whatever, but like her neuro, like her. I didn't really like her.
Yeah.
But I was like,
I didn't like how
that brought it down.
I liked the twist of it, but I didn't like how like I don't know how she's like she wakes up with a savant syndrome and then she just immediately becomes this badass and then disappears and becomes an assassin. I'm like, what? Okay,
I'm not.
I did like the actress for her,
but I watched. I was like, is she Asian? And then I was like, wait, so I swear I thought she was Asian at the beginning. I was like, damn, she looks kind of Asian. And then they're like, no, this is her. I was like, I'm just like,
who I thought it was when she walked in?
I thought it was the girl from Mission Impossible.
I thought it was Florence Pugh for a second.
Oh.
I was like, is that Florence Pugh? Is that what?
The bad guy? Yeah, the bad guy girl from not the one coming out, but the one before before this one. The Asian girl that he saves, and she's like, "Oh, you let him go because he saved you, or whatever." I thought that was her. That's why I was like, "Damn, was she not Asian?" And I was like, "Okay, so she's definitely supposed to be Latina," because I was just like, "Oh, okay." So I was like, I totally got it. I was like, I guess they got facial
reconstruction.
Yeah, I was like, I guess it's facial reconstruction. Because even after they told me who she was, I was still like. No, bro. She still looks like she has a little bit of Asian in her. Like I was just like, I was like, maybe.
I think it's the cheekbones and then it's the eyeshadow. I think that's the reason.
I was like, that it did. But yeah, like I didn't like those two side characters, and that just brings it down for me.
Yeah, Mary Beth Medina was pissing me off, where she's like, "No, we're going to do this the right way," and I'm like, "You are the only reason you're in that chair." In which I love that almost did it again. Ben Affleck is like, "Oh no, you're in that chair because I put you there, and then we give you hints. And if you mean hints by, we give you account numbers and locations." And I'm like, "Thank you." She thinks she got such a big ass head.
I'm like, they've done this for you for the past 8 years. That's why you keep closing. And then the next scene when she's at the hospital, she's like, "Oh, just do this for me." And he's like, "Oh, now you don't want to follow the law because you need something." I was like, the doctor just told you he needs the warrant or whatever. And you're like, "No, just." I'm like, oh, so now we're breaking the law because it's okay for you to break the law.
She uses the Neuroscience Institute where she's like, "Yeah, we're going to like partner with you with a grant," when she knows damn well that they ain't. She's like, she's just using their name. I'm like, I
was like, bruh, like that brought it down for me so much to where it was almost like 90%. But I'm just like, I love John Bartha and Ben Affleck's like connections to where it's just like,
no, they did so good.
To me, that was like the whole movie. To where I'm just like, this is what they showed in the trailer. I was like, this is amazing. I was like, the chemistry they have with one another, the way they're able to play off of one another, the way when he calls them at night, he's like, "It's been 8 years. You said you were gonna meet me here." I was like, they bring that up for freaking the first one.
And
I was
he hangs up.
Yeah, I was like, bruh. I was like,
Yeah,
their relationship for the whole movie was just, I was like, that's the whole movie for me. I'm like, yeah,
yeah,
bump these side characters, bump this other storyline or whatever, bump the beginning. The beginning was okay. I was like, I feel like we kind of needed that to set up the whole movie, but I was like, we could have started off with something
yeah.
else. But I
I
was
know
just
that
like,
some
they killed it
people
for me.
were upset because there wasn't as much. It wasn't like the first one. It says like in the first one, he's an accountant, he's a math savant and everything, and everyone's like, "Well, we didn't get any of that." I'm like, the first one is it sets up really well. It shows you why he's like this, what happens. It shows them how effective and how like good he is. You don't need more scenes of him showing how good of a sniper he is because he's already done that in the first one. Also, you have the pizza scene where he's like, or he breaks down the guy's revenue.
Yeah.
I'm like, you get that scene, so you get the part where he's still the accountant, you get to finally see the motorcycle. The first one, I was like, "There's a motorcycle on the back of that Airstream," and then this one, we see it. I'm like, "Okay, that was good." But yeah, some people were upset about that. The main thing that brought it down for me was the Harvey neuroscience kids being like the operators, where I'm like,
Mm,
"Oh wow, these parents are taking their kids to, like live a normal life in their own version of normal." And this institute is making them child soldiers and on the cyberware. Where I'm like, it's really cool that they get to show their their specialties, their abilities, but morally, you're turning these kids into gray hat hackers
yeah, I was totally
from the
okay with
beginning.
that. The reason why I was totally okay with that is because it's from Ben Affleck's point of view. And that's the same thing
Yeah,
his dad did with him. So I was like, oh, this is
yeah,
something he would definitely do. So I was just like, oh, I'm
and
totally okay with that storyline of
that's why
it.
I'm okay with it. I was just
Yeah.
like, but even so, like, also in congruence with that, where they're going to that woman's laptop, and Medina's having the meltdown. She's like, "Tell him to stop! Tell him to stop!" Ben Affleck doesn't say shit
Yeah.
because his obsession needs to be finished. And I was like, see, this is good because Ben Affleck. I'm not saying like him, he doesn't have morals in the same sense as normal people have morals because of his sense of like he needs to finish everything. And I like how they portrayed that. I also like all the interaction with him and John Bernthal, where John is the brother that doesn't understand, kind of like how his dad was, where he's like, he's not different. He needs to get used to this. And so his brother's like, you're always so freaking weird. And then Ben is like, I'm just me. I'm like, see, that's good. But also then John has these like, so what are you doing? I'm applying sun lotion because I need to protect my skin. He's like, oh, can I have some? He's like, here, yeet. I'm like, yeah, that's a childish move. And he's like, Braxton, that wasn't nice. I really like that. I'm like, see, this is why he doesn't call you in 8 years. It was very much brotherly stuff. But I think my favorite was like you said, the cowboy scene where he sees the dancing. He's like, these are just patterns. And he dances, and then the guy's like, oh, punch me, you're a big stupid loser, punch me, because he's like, my brother's gonna be so happy tonight. And then his brother's like, oh, what is this, get over here. And yeah, John Bernthal is definitely the new age Jason Statham, in the sense like all of his characters are kind of similar, but I'm perfectly okay with it.
Yeah.
Where they're like driving on the bus, he's like, stop. He's like, what is that? What is that? I'm like, that's John Bernthal. And it's like cat. I was like, this is good. This is good. I haven't smiled genuinely in a movie like that for like a long time. In the sense of like at the end, he goes, Braxton, I made a reservation at this place, and I thought we can go hiking. He goes, you did that for. Yeah, I think that would be fun. I'm like, no, this is so good. I need to call my brother. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
I
overall, I was
just
like,
like,
this is good.
and then bringing it back to Sinners when we was talking about last
Mhm.
week, that's like what I meant when I was like, man, like Michael B. Jordan's a great actor, but if they would have brought in
But it
somebody
could have been,
else, yeah,
yeah, it could have been
that's where I was
elevated.
like, man, if they would have had somebody else to rub off on him and have like that same chemistry,
Mhm.
that's where I guess I was like trying to explain it, and like this movie, in a sense, builds off what I was trying to say there, because like if Ben Affleck was just, and I'm not saying Michael B. Jordan did bad, he did wonderful playing the two twins,
Yeah,
but like if Ben Affleck was just trying to play like the two twins, I don't think we would have that same feeling that John brought
Same.
the
Yeah. No, I
brought
agree.
with it.
I
But yeah,
knew
like
the only thing going back to stick with Sinners, I was watching another interview with Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan, and they say why twins, and Ryan Coogler said that one, he had aunts that were twins, but two, he based it off of in Nigeria in the Yoruba religion, they have a deity called a Beji that are two male twins, and because all of it was kind of like based off of like black culture history, and that's why they did the twins. I was like, it was good. It was a good decision for me, but
I
I
honestly
think
thought
that's
it was
why they
just
did it.
because all white people thought black people looked the same back then.
You know, it could have
That's
been. And also, there's
that's
there.
what I
Did
was
you
like.
see for the I forgot her name, the chick that basically calls them all in, the Chinese woman, where she's
Yeah,
like, "Yeah, come on, come and get it." Did you see who they had an interview with a woman down in Mississippi that all of that was based off of, and she's a country Chinese woman, and she was talking about how her family is basically like I think is who's the daughter is based off of, or it's kind of like the mom acts like her, but it's kind of like the woman that tells it is what the perspective would be from the daughter, where she's an old country lady, and she talks about how when she was a kid, her parents had this shop, and one was served black people and one was served white people on the same side or on the opposite side of the street, and it was like perfect to a T of how the character design for the mom was. I
mm,
still hate the fact that she sacrificed herself,
yeah, yeah. We took out
killed
one
everybody
grandmother
in there. Only took one, and she still died. She still left her daughter as.
as
That's
an
the different
orphan.
part. That's a different episode that we've already covered. Go watch
Yeah,
episode 3,
but
episode
yeah, yeah.
4.
I think because I think I ranked Sinners a 93 or 91, something like that.
I
So
think
yeah,
you
I
gave it
think
a
I ranked.
91.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, I just ranked the accountant higher in the sense that I just enjoyed the ride more as to
Mm,
where with Sinners, if you go watch it, I kind of tell you I go on a rant on why I kind of didn't like it, but I just enjoyed the ride more of like it's literally just like this brother adventure of going to go kill
mm-hmm.
people and make things right,
Yeah.
and I was like,
I think
that's what we get.
yeah, I like it in a different that's different part of me likes it in a sense where I'm like this movie for me is a B tier movie in a very in a sense of like it knows it's a B tier movie and it does it to the maximum capacity of what it was. Where Sinners knew it was going to be an A tier movie and it did it well as a like we know we're going to do well as this movie. Where Accountant 2 isn't like trying to reinvent the wheel in a sense.
Right.
Sinners 2 is trying to reinvent the wheel and I think in a sense they did. They did amazing. Also to go back to Sinners, I know guys were ranting on Sinners again. I'm sorry. Go watch episode 3 if you want the full coverage and our opinions on it. Did you know they shot it in 3 different frames at the same time? So depending on the movie theater and depending on what it has, like if you go to an IMAX theater, you see more of a movie because it has
Mm,
more of it in the frame. It's like I think the normal one has like a wide shot, and then the IMAX one has like another set where it's still shot and you get to see the background more. And then there's another one that's even more, and you get to see even more of the movie in the background and the whole scale of everything. I was like, dang, I wish I lived near an IMAX. That would have
yeah,
been amazing.
that's dope as fuck. That's dope as hell.
Yeah.
But
So they were trying to reinvent the wheel in that sense.
most definite. Which I mean, you sometimes got to do that. Sometimes you just got to take those swings, man, and they work out.
Yeah.
Which I mean, like for me as well, like I like Sinners. I think Sinners is a good movie. I think it's a great movie, but it's also one of those movies where it had so much behind it and so much hype, and I'm gonna grade it off that. To where I feel like the account had no hype behind it, and so I went in
Mm.
there like here, and it was here. To where I went in with Sinners here, and I felt like it was here.
I got you. Yeah. I think for me, I'm pretty similar where Sinners for me was like here. And for me, it stuck where accounting was here, and then it was here. Like it still for
Mm,
me, it surprised me, and I'm happy for that. It's just a different tier of a movie
I
where
feel it.
later on in life, I probably like bring up like, oh yeah, accountant's a really good like movie like that, but it's not gonna be in the same conversation where I say like, oh, Sinners, yeah, that was like the Get Out of the 2020s. Like that was like the different it moved the game a little bit where I'm like All right, goalpost a little bit farther next time, guys. Where it count to fit right where it needed to be.
Right, yeah. I feel you on that.
Yeah. But that's all I got. You got anything else for the people?
Nah, that's all I got. That's all I got.
All right, sounds good. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, ding that notification bell. We post 2 times a week. We post every Tuesdays and Fridays. So
Boom.
check us out. Keep supporting us. And we appreciate you guys. Thank you guys. Peace.
Peace.